Good job on the treehouse, Moby. How are we supposed to get up there? Dear Tim and Moby, when those letters are all over math problems, I have no idea what to do. From Ned. You're talking about algebra. That's the branch of math where you solve equations with variables. Well, an equation is a comparison of two sets of numbers with an equal sign. Like 2 plus 3 equals 5 is an equation. The quantities on each side of the equal sign have to be, equal. A variable is a placeholder for a number we don't know yet, so instead we use a letter. Whether it's an X, a Y, an A, or some other letter, a variable is just an unknown number. The numbers in an equation are called constants because their value is set. You can think of equations with variables like a fill-in-the-blank question. The purpose of an equation with a variable is to fill in that blank. In other words, find out which number makes each side of the equation equal. What do you mean, so what? We can use variables to build a ladder for this treehouse. How high is the treehouse? So our ladder needs to be 5 meters high. Well, we're not done yet. It just so happens that we have 2 5-meter-long pieces of wood. But a ladder needs rungs, those things you step on. I think we're going to need to solve some equations to make this ladder. We've got 21 of these wooden slats to use as rungs. We'll make them all the same distance apart, so the ladder's safe. We need to figure out how far apart the rungs should be. Here's where an equation comes in handy. The distance we're trying to find can be expressed as a variable, say d. It's the value that we don't know. With 21 slats, it takes 20 of our unknown distances to make 5 meters. That can be expressed as an equation. 20 times d equals 5. To solve an equation, you need to isolate the variable on one side of the equation. That way, you can compare what you're not sure of with real numbers that you are sure of. We need to get rid of that times 20, so we can divide that side by 20 to cancel it out. Hold on, we're not done yet. Whenever you do something to one side of the equation, you have to do the same thing to the other side to keep the two sides equal. Okay, easy part first. 20 divided by 20 equals 1, and 1 times d is the same as d. And 5 divided by 20 equals 0.25. So d, our unknown distance, equals 0.25 meters. The rungs of our ladder need to be 0.25 meters apart. How many centimeters are in 0.25 meters? That's a different equation. We know that 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. And we'll call our unknown number of centimeters x. To find x, we need to multiply 0.25 by 100 centimeters. So 100 times 0.25 equals 25. X equals 25 centimeters. Looks right to me. The rungs of our ladder should be 0.25 meters or 25 centimeters apart. So let's build that ladder so we can get up to the treehouse. Where are the nails? What do you mean you don't use nails? Ah!
Hi everyone, we are going to do our review quiz from our Brain Pop video. All right, what is a variable? Well, a variable is a letter representing an unknown number in an equation. Letter B. You might see it represented like with a letter X or Y or R or K. That's totally fine. Good. Number 2. In the equation 2x plus 3y equals 19, what is the variable? Choose the best answer. When I hear choose the best answer, I know that might be a trick, so please take it slow. Well, let's just look at the problem. I know that the x is a variable. I know that the y is a variable. So let's take a look at our answers. X, okay, it's true, but is there a better answer? Y is also true. The equal sign, definitely not. And then letter D, both x and y are variables, which is true. Good. Number 3, what branch of mathematics deals with equations with variables? Well, that's what we're starting right now, and it's called algebra. Number 4, which symbol is present in every equation? So when we think equation, we think balancing those scales that we've been talking about. And when we have two sides that need to be balanced, we have an equal sign that uses that compares both of these sides. So equal sign. Okay, number 5, how do we figure out the value of a variable? Well, what you need to do is isolate the variable on one side of the equal sign. So if we have a plus 5 on one side, we need to minus 5 on the other side. And what that does is it cancels out to isolate the variable, to get the variable, that letter, by itself, because then we can solve. All right, number 6, how do you solve the equation 4x equals 100? Well, a number and a variable next to each other without any sign, that actually means multiplication. So if I want to undo multiplication or find the inverse of multiplication, what is that? It's division. So if this is multiplied by 4 on this side, I want to divide by 4 on this side to cancel it out. And then I want to also divide by 4 on this side so that we can balance the equation. So divide by each side by 4. In the equation 2x plus 3y equals 19, what is the constant? So we have the constant and we have a variable. So the variable is the letter and the constant is the number. So which of these is the number that does not have a variable next to it? It's 19. Number 8, solve for x. 7x plus 7 equals 21. Okay, well here I have plus 7 on this side, so I want to cancel it out. I want to subtract it. Now when I subtract it from this side, it cancels out to 0. And now I have to subtract it from the other side of our scale. So it's 21 minus 7. 1 minus 7 we can't do, we have to borrow. Take from the 2, it becomes a 1, bring over 10. Now we have 11 minus 7, which is 4, and you drop down the 1, 14. Bring down the rest of your equation, because now you're going to have to start plugging in. 7x is left over. This is all canceled out, right? It became a 0. And what do we have on this side? 14. 7x. This is showing us the operation of multiplication. If we want to undo it and do the opposite of multiplication, we're going to divide. What are we going to divide each side by? 7. And we're going to isolate the variable. We're going to get the x by itself. So when I divide by 7, this cancels out. That's like saying if you have 7 pieces and you want to make a group, you want to make groups of 7, how many groups can you make? Well, you can just make 1. That's how that cancels out. So, and what you have left is the x. X equals 14 divided by 7, quick fact, 2. And be very careful when you write your answers to problems like this. You have to write x equals 2, or you have to write y equals. Okay, you have to explain it. Okay, so just keep that in your brain, because if you look at all these possible answers, they all say x equals x equals. That's how you have to start displaying your answer. That's the format you have to put it in. Okay, so x equals 2. Number 9, what is the first step in solving the equation 2y minus 11 equals 25? Well, the first thing we're going to do is, if I see minus 11 on this side, I have to, if it's minus 11 on this side, I'm going to add 11 so it cancels out, and I'm going to have to add 11 to the other side of the equal sign as well so we can balance those scales. So add 11 to both sides. All right, number 10, 31 minus 3k equals 10. Okay, so here we have the 31 that's not connected to any variable, so we're going to go ahead and work with this 31, okay? We're going to add it. No, I'm sorry. We're going to subtract it from this side, and this is going to cancel out. 31 minus 31 is going to give you 0, right? Drop down. This is negative 3k, right? Look at that. Be very careful. This one is a negative, and you're going to have to bring it down, so it's still all attached. Okay, every time you rewrite the problem, you have to make sure those signs are correct. Okay, so you bring everything down. We have negative 3k. Okay, now if we subtracted 31 from this side, we have to subtract 31 from this side. Okay. Okay, we have this. We went over this in way in the beginning of the year, so I'll just do a quick refresher for subtracting. 10 minus 31. I'm going to go ahead and plot it on the number line just so we can get that visual connection. Okay. So let's save that part for later. Okay. 10 minus 31. So if here's our number line, right, and here is, let's say, our 0. Okay, so here's our positive side. Here's positive 10. Okay, and here is, let's say, negative 10 to give it a scale. Okay, so we start at positive 10 and we're moving to the 0. How many spaces did you jump? Now, this is what we went over in the beginning of the year. I had you writing on the number line. Remember, you were showing it on the number line? That's exactly what we're talking about. So you start at 10 and you move to 0. How many spaces is that? Well, that's 10. Okay, so that's part of this 31 that you have to move to the left, right? We're subtracting, we're moving to the left. So now we need to do 10 more spaces. Okay, so that's 10 more. Now we've moved 20 spaces. We have to continue because we have to go 31 spaces. Okay, so here we go. Here's another 10 spaces, which is going to give you negative 20. And I'm going to have to go one more. Ready? 10, 20, 30. I need to go 31 jumps to the left. Okay, so then I'm going to go one more jump. Let's see. And what is one more? What is negative 21? Okay. Okay, so now we went 10, 20, 30, 1 jumps to the left, and that represents this minus 31. Okay, so positive 10 minus 31 is going to leave you with negative 21. Okay, so now we're going to rewrite. Negative 3k equals negative 21. And we're going to divide. Divide by negative 3 on this side, which leaves you with k, and negative 3 on this side. Negative divided by a negative is going to give us a positive. And the quick fact, 21 divided by 3 is going to give you 7. So k equals 7. Great. All right. Thank you so much. See you next time.